So ladies and gentlemen, I had a bit of a health issue recently, and it was clear to me that I was going to have to act.
We are going to have to act if we want to live in a different world.
So pull up a chair. Lost my train of thought there for a second. Pull up a tray. Yes, words. I've been speaking fine all day. The second I sit in front of a camera, I absolutely lose it, and I've not even opened a beer yet. Crack open a beer and join me as we discuss my weight loss surgery. Our story begins a long time ago in a galaxy right here. I was born. That's a heck of a way to start a story. However, after a few years, it was clear to health practitioners looking after me that there was going to be an issue with my teeth. You see, I'm British. End of story. Essentially, it was believed that my teeth were going to grow in all different directions, and that wasn't going to be fun. So I started going through a series of painful procedures to basically make sure that they grew in correctly, like tombstones, basically. And that was generally fine. I never had an issue. I never needed to wear braces because my trousers never fell down.
So your pants will fall to the ground.
However, as the secondary teeth grew in, I began to have issues with one of them, and it had to be repaired multiple times throughout the period of, let's say, about 30 years. It was constantly falling apart, needing to be filled, refilled, drilled, fixed, repaired. Words like that, you name it, happened to it. Around about 10 years ago, a bit broke off of the back of it, but it was still there. Like it was literally rattling around in the back of between two teeth in my skull. I went to a dentist, and they took one of those dental sticky pokey stick things, and she literally just went flick, and it flew out my mouth and landed in her tray with a ding. I was like, can I see that? Wow, it's like just a tiny little bit of tooth. It was then drilled and refilled again, but the main issue came around about 4 years ago. Would you believe that popcorn killed the tooth? I bit into a chunk of popcorn, and the popcorn itself was unharmed, and here was a part of the tooth. I was like, huh. Well, that's not supposed to happen. But I went and I got it filled again for the umpteenth time, 5-6 times. It must have been repaired throughout the whole of its career as a chomping implement inside of my face. So that brings us up to the last year or so. How's the tooth been doing? Not well. Bits had been falling off of it, but I generally thought to myself, you know what, I just want rid of it. I want it out of my life, but at the moment, I'm kind of busy. I've got a lot going on. I'll leave it for now. I'm not in any pain, so I don't think there's any exposed nerves or anything like that. So, as time went on, a piece fell off the back of it, a piece fell off the front of it. Part of a filling fell out of it, more of a filling fell out of it. On the 27th of December, I contacted the dental hospital and I said, I have a broken old tooth, and you know what? It's time for us to part ways. I shouldn't have left it as late as I did, knowing that perhaps there could have been risks involved in that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it wasn't causing me any pain. It didn't seem to be causing any form of visible infection or anything like that. So I self-triaged and I'm fine. I'll be alright. I mean, I can still walk to the pub if I don't have any beers in the house, so I'm not dying. Went to the dentist and they x-rayed the side of my face, and they're basically like, yeah, you've got a broken tooth. It's like, wow, you guys are so astute. You know, instead of faffing about with x-rays, you could have just asked. You could have just looked. But I suppose they've got an SOP, a standard operating procedure that they need to follow. You know, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and risks and all that. So I sat down with the dude, and in a bizarre show of a medical practitioner agreeing with what I said to him, look, this tooth, I really just think it needs to be removed. And he just said, yep, I agree. I was like, what? No argument? No fight? What? The removal itself seems to be quite... well, I have no common frame of reference. I don't know if it was smooth or not. I've never had a tooth removed before.
You mean I have to die to discuss your insights on death?
But it seemed to generally go fine. I was given 4 injections into the area. I said to him initially that I didn't want any, but he said, no, we're pulling a tooth, we need to give you an injection. It's like, okay, fine. I hate these injections because afterwards I'm not able to speak. Literally the extent of a conversation you get out of me is which, to be honest, is generally the kind of conversation you would get out of me anyway. Listen to me, I'm pure Scottish. But they to use the word that they went digging inside of my jaw is probably the best term that I could use. They had one of these instruments, like a smaller version of what women having babies in hospitals use, and they literally like sort of opened up the inside of my face, I guess, and the dude just like went inside and just started pulling out bits like it was something from Minecraft. And I'd been envisioning this procedure as ending with me looking at a tooth-shaped tooth on a table, but there were like 15 little small tiny lumps of tooth sitting there in a dental tray on the table, and I'm just like, that's my tooth. I used to be inside my face. And the man just looked at me and was like, yes, that's your tooth and that used to be inside your face. Me being the astute one for a change. But they went on to say that this could take a few weeks to heal properly. Just keep an eye on it, and don't lift heavy things, basically. They gave me a little sheet of paper to take away, basically outlining things not to do. One of the things it said on the sheet of paper they gave me to take away was, it says, avoid alcohol. Well, no one's throwing cans at me, so I definitely avoided it in that manner. However, after being in there, after going through a procedure like that, I was in shock. I needed something to settle my nerves. You know, right across the road from that dental practice, guess what there was?
Now I'm going back a few years when partners knew a bit about beer.
And I'm guessing the bar staff in there had heard this story 1,000, a million times before, because they knew exactly where I'd been and they knew exactly what I wanted. They gave me a double whiskey. I'm not sure what whiskey it was. It wasn't an expensive one. It was just... There's no point in wasting a nice expensive whiskey when you literally barely have a sense of taste after being filled with dental anaesthetic. Probably just like a Famous Grouse or a Bell's or something like that. Just standard Scottish tap water whiskey, you know. But whatever it was, it did the trick. And after that, I needed a beer chaser. I did go to my local bar, but my my friend there says that he didn't want to serve me because I had dental anaesthetic. I went to another bar where the rules were a little bit less scrupulous. They were quite happy to serve me a pint of beer, but I couldn't even drink like a quarter of it. It was just the anaesthetic had started to spread throughout my entire mouth, and attempting to do anything with my mouth was just out of the question. I could barely speak. I couldn't imbibe liquids, so I just went and hopped in a taxi, went home, and went to bed. When I woke up in the evening, I went back to the pub because I was generally feeling fine, in a lot of pain, but generally fine. And although I'd taken lots of painkillers, the only thing really helping it was alcohol. It was really the only thing that was helping the pain, to be honest. And you know, it's not really a sustainable solution. It's like, right, you're in a lot of pain. The only thing helping it is alcohol. Drink until you die. That's not really a sustainable solution. But I did have a few beers that night, and I had a few the next day as well. I had a few things that I needed to do. It was literally 2 days after Christmas, and I had some friends that I needed to catch up with. So I went and met them. Friends who were here for the holidays, essentially, who have now gone back home to the islands. It's not the sort of occasions that you skip out on just because you've had a wee bit of a toothache. Understatement of the whole thing. But the pain didn't really kick in until a couple of days later, and it was excruciating. I spent quite a few days in bed just recovering. Imagine being in bed trying to sleep and you're in so much pain, but like the side of your skull is just absolutely splitting, and it's like you're trying to sleep, but Wallace and Gromit are literally trying to build a spaceship in your bed at the same time. That's what it was like. There wasn't a lot of bleeding, so whatever the procedure was, they obviously done it quite cleanly when they were digging holes inside my skull. They didn't cause much damage to the gums themselves, just apart from the "oh Jesus Christ, what are you doing?" sort of shock to the face hole that they pulled the tooth out of. Now, I know some of you might be morbidly curious and you might want to see this. There is a photo. I know some of you might not be morbidly curious and might not want to see this. Therefore, a warning. I am going to show the photo on screen. Last chance to look away. And you're back in the room. You can look at the screen now. I know I'm a bit of a joker, and I'm not just going to show you that without giving a warning first. I mean, you've had to look at my ugly face as it was. You don't want to see more of it close up. For those of you who saw the photo there, you'll notice that I had a bit more of a beard back then. I was on the verge of shaving it. It was just laziness, really. But it did take me about a week before the pain had died down enough for me to take a razor to the side of my face, and you know, I went clean shaven for a bit. Now I'm just doing just the standard Turkish beard line shave look. Say right now, about a fortnight on, still a little bit of it's not pain, it's just a different sensation, a weird sensation. To describe what it looks like at the moment, don't worry, I'm not going to show any more photos. There's quite a bit of gum growth. where the tooth used to be. It's like it's healing over, like a flap, like like a seal, is sealing over the tooth hole. I don't know where that analogy came from, or the seal impersonations, but there you go. The joys of being unscripted. Anyway, I just felt it would be useful to document this experience in this manner. If anything, I had been wanting to make another episode of Watch Dogs Health for a while there, so there you go, I guess. Weight loss surgery. How I lost like 3 grams by having a tooth removed. Well, you know, on a more sort of serious side, to say weight loss surgery, I found that my appetite just absolutely vanished, and eating wasn't difficult, but it was more the I don't want to eat anything sort of vibes. And at the time I had made a massive pot of soup because winter, so I had plenty of that. I just had it with bread generally not whenever I felt hungry, but when I felt like, right, I've not eaten in a while, I need to force myself to eat something, I would have some of that. It's only in the last few days I've managed to actually sit down and eat more than one substantial meal a day, and well, I mean, I'm still fat. Like, it's not like any kind of weight loss going on here. So I guess my body's went into like, oh no, famine mode. I'm not being fed. Despite the fact that it is going through a major healing exercise at the moment.
Stu, you were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not eat it.
You'd think it would burn up some of its storage, but obviously not. Meh, I don't care. I've resigned myself to the fact that I'm a rotund man, and I don't care about changing that, to be honest. I'm not the thinnest man in the world, but I'm not the fattest man in the world, so I don't mind, as long as my jeans still fit, as long as they're not too snug, and as long as they're not falling to the ground.
Buckle your pants, buckle your pants, buckle your pants, or your pants will fall to the ground.
I'll be fine. To anyone going through a similar procedure, I hope my story might help in some way. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them down below in the comments, and I will answer them the best that I can. Otherwise, that's it for StooDogg Health. Feel free to check out another one of the videos in this end screen, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.